14.3 Using Notes Effectively. It's a great deal of work to prepare a good speech, and you want to present it effectively so that your audience will benefit as much as possible. We've already said that extemporaneous speaking provides the best opportunity for speaker audience contact, and that speaking extemporaneously means you do not have your full manuscript or outline with you. Instead, you will use note cards. The cards should have notes, not the full text of your speech. This can also be done with an auto cue device. The teleprompter does not have to provide a full word-for-word script. We've developed a system for creating highly effective note cards. Our system has been used effectively both in public speaking courses and in freshman composition courses. Surprisingly, the system consists of only 5 cards. For many people, this does not sound like nearly enough cards. We would make the case that you can do a good job with 5 cards, and we've seen many students do just that. The purpose of speaker notes. Using notes adds to your credibility as a speaker. If you depend on a full manuscript to get through your delivery, your listeners might believe you don't know the content of your speech. Second, the temptation to read the entire speech directly from the manuscript, even if you're only carrying it as a safety net, is nearly overwhelming. Third, well-prepared cards are more gracefully handled than sheets of paper, and they don't rattle in your hands if they tremble from nervousness. Finally, cards look better than sheets of paper. 5 carefully prepared cards, together with practice, will help you more than you might think. Key tips for using notes. Plan on using just 5 cards, written on one side only. Get 4x6 cards. Use 1 card for the introduction, 1 card for each of your 3 main points, and 1 card for the conclusion. Include only keywords. Your cards should include keywords and phrases, not full sentences. The words and phrases should be arranged in order so that you can stay organized and avoid forgetting important points. One exception to the keyword guideline would be an extended or highly technical quotation from an authoritative source. If it is critically important to present an exact quotation, you may add 1 additional card that will contain the quotation together with its citation. If you plan to use such a quotation, make sure it has central importance in your speech. Hold your notes naturally. Notes are a normal part of giving a presentation. You do not need to conceal them from the audience. In fact, trying to hide and use your notes at the same time tends to be very awkward and distracting. Some instructors recommend that you avoid gesturing with your notes on the grounds that nervous shaking is more noticeable if you're holding your notes in your hand. If this is the case for you, practice gesturing with your free hand, or put your cards down if you need to use both hands. Other instructors recommend treating note cards as a natural extension of your hand, as they believe it's distracting to put your notes down and pick them up again. Whichever rule you follow, remember that the goal is for your use of note cards to contribute to your overall appearance and confidence and credibility. Prepare note cards to trigger recall. The trick to selecting the words to write on your cards is to identify the keywords that will trigger a recall sequence. For instance, if the word Fukushima brings to mind the nuclear power plant meltdown that followed the earthquake and tsunami that hit upon Japan in 2011, then that one word on your note card should propel you through a sizable sequence of points and details. Once you've delivered the material, perhaps you'll glance at your card again to remind yourself of the next keyword or phrase that comes. You must discover what works for you, and then select those words that tend to jog your recall. Having identified what works, make a preliminary set of 5 cards, written only on one side. Number the cards and practice with them. Revise and refine them the way you would an outline. If you must, rewrite an entire card to make it work better, and test it the next time you practice. Always practice with your note cards, and with any visual aids that you plan to use. Practicing is also the best way to find out what kinds of things might go wrong with your notes in the presented speech and what steps you should take to make things go smoothly. Write in large letters. You should be able to read something on your card by glancing, not peering at it. A few key words and phrases written in bold print with plenty of white space between them will help you. If the lighting in your speech location is likely to have glare, be sure to write your notes in ink, as pencil can be hard to read in poor lighting. Using note cards effectively. If you use as much care in developing your 5 note cards as you do your speech, they should serve you well. If you lose your place or go blank during the speech, you will only need a few seconds to find where you were and get going again. For instance, if you know that you presented the introduction and the first main point, which centers on the Emancipation Proclamation, you can readily go to your second card and remind yourself that your next main point is about the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. In addition, the use of your note cards allows you to depart from the exact prepared wording in your manuscript. In your recovery from losing your place, you can transpose a word or a phrase to make your recovery graceful. It allows you to avoid feeling pressured to say every single word in your manuscript. Under no circumstances should you ever attempt to put your entire speech on cards in a little tiny writing. You'll end up reading your words to your audience instead of telling them their meaning. And the visual aspect of your speech will be spoiled by your need to squint to read your cards. Key takeaways. Good note cards keep you from reading to your audience. Good note cards are carefully based on keywords and phrases to promote recall. Good note cards should enhance your relationship with listeners.